I think it's pretty normal for us to want to gravitate towards people who are like us, people who think like us, people who act like us, dress like us. And the other side of that is I think it's pretty common for us to want to avoid people we think are different from us in some way. People who don't think like us, people who don't act like us, people who don't dress like us. And I think that this is also true for people with disabilities. We like to think of them as existing in a separate group from the rest of us, right? Those of us who are able bodied are different from those who are disabled, right? And this is evident in the way that we structure our entire society. We have these neat little categories that we put people in, and then we treat them according to how we've organized them. And this is no different for people with disabilities. You know, but one of the problems with that is that it doesn't really accurately describe the circumstances, right? It's not that the person is themselves disabled, but it's that society, the way that we've structured our communities, is disabling towards them. So someone in a wheelchair isn't disabled because they're in a wheelchair. Someone in a wheelchair is disabled because they can't get into a building, because there's no ramp or there's no elevator. That's the difference between being disabled and being impaired. And I think that one of the reasons we don't want to um, uh, break down the barriers between these neat little categories is because that means that we have to admit to ourselves that there's some similarities between us. That really the group of those of us who are able-bodied are maybe similar to those who are disabled in ways that we're not comfortable admitting yet. We are all limited, finite beings. None of us who are quote able-bodied are completely able 100% to do anything. We are all limited in some way or another. And so it's not that someone with a disability is a different group from us. It's a matter of degree, not kind. We're all limited in some way. Some of us are more severely limited, more of us are less limited. Now, that doesn't speak to the structures of our society. We have structured our society in a way based on this belief that there are a different group of people so that it continues to marginalize and oppress people with disabilities. So on the one hand, there's a similarity between people without and people with disabilities that we are unable to confront. And on the other hand, we have really reinforced this notion that they're different from us by the way that we've structured our communities and our societies to keep people with disabilities on the outside. And so I think the only way that we can really have meaningful change in this way is to acknowledge both of those things. One, that we are more alike than we are dissimilar, and that we have set up our society in ways that disproportionately affect people with disabilities. And if we can't do that, then there's no hope for moving to a better future.